Point of views. We all have different opinions of ourselves and how we see ourselves and how people see us, different perceptions, how we carry ourselves, what we believe to be the truth. Even if when you have a look at a child playing football, whatever, and compared to the child's parent looking at that same child, you both are looking at the same thing, but then you get into a different conclusion. So that's the thing about point of view. So if you've been stuck in the same place years after years, days after days, month after month, if you're always picking fights with people, you're always in conflict, everyone's kind of offending you, everyone gets on your nerves, nothing seems to be working for you, people are against you, your friends, your neighbors, your families, everyone just wants to put you down. Could it be just you are seeing things differently from these people? Now, I'm not saying you should change every time someone has an opinion or different opinion about you. I'm not saying you should change to please people. I'm not saying you should change to fit in. I'm not saying you should change to become liked. But all I'm saying, you should ask yourself this simple question. Why is it me? How come I'm always right against every single person's opinion? Then maybe that will prompt you to change. Because they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and repeating and expecting a different result. So probably maybe that's what you're doing. You've been doing exactly the same thing. You've been the same person you've been for the last 10, 15, 20 years, and then you expect a different result. Why? Because you're expecting your environment to change, the people outside you to change, the policy to change, the government to change. But the only change that really matters, the only change that really affects your life is you. But you're not paying any attention to that. Why? Because you don't want to look yourself in the eye and take responsibility. That's what change is all about. Point of view. Seeing yourself, or maybe just picking something and say, I'm going to be this person, or I'm going to develop myself. So what we're talking about here is about personal development, developing yourself for your own good, inspiring to become something better, not being content for where you are and where you've been for the past 10, 15, 20 years, saying I'm going to go few steps better than I've made a lot of mistakes in this one spot. I want to grow. And this does not come from other people's opinion of you. This does not come by people pushing you. This does not come from people's criticism. This comes from you having to look and saying, it's time to grow. It's time to change. It's time to develop. It's time to read more books. It's time to attend more seminars. It's time to learn new skills. It's time to think differently. It's time to become more flexible. It's time to associate with more people. So point of view, it's a very big thing. That's something we have in control, but that's the same thing that keeps us in the same position year after year. I'm sure you've met a lot of people who say, oh, just take me as I am. I'm not willing to change for anyone. That's all well and good. But if you've remained in the same position years after years, then are you comfortable in that same position? Or are you still blaming others because people have moved on? So have a point of view. Think about it. Look at yourself and say, I need to grow. I need to do better. I need to do something differently. I need to change. If you're a farmer and you don't plant anything during the spring, the sowing season, you don't come back during harvest and blame the soil and blame the earth. No, you look at yourself in the mirror and say, well, I haven't done anything, so therefore I don't expect anything. The only change that matters is the change that comes from us. It's the change that comes from us. Nothing else matters. We will face rejection after rejection. I remember when I left uni and I was applying for job. I applied for 1,000 jobs within 2-3 months and all was rejected. I remember when I was submitting my book, I submitted more than 1,765 agents. All was rejected. How did I know? Because I counted the amount of agents I submitted to. Until I decided to change my story, try to write differently. I'm thinking, well, this agent, of course, they want to sell a top seller book. They want to make money too. So how can I contribute? How can I start looking at myself instead of looking at the rejections? Maybe I need to change something. Maybe I need to rewrite. Maybe I need to think differently. So that's what makes people grow. Having seen successful people in the last few years, they make internal changes. They change in themselves. They learn something new. You cannot give what you haven't got. So everything we are doing, everything we're going to do goes back to that self opinion of ourselves, point of view. You can have this high opinion of yourself and think you are, or you're not. But then you would continue to complain. Why? Because nothing is changing for you. But when you start maybe taking other people's view into consideration and then thinking, these 5 people cannot be wrong about me, 10 people cannot wrong, 20 people cannot be wrong about me. And even if they're all wrong, I just don't like where I am or where I've been for the past 5, 6, 7 years. What do I need to do to change? This is where self-development comes into play. The need, a self-imposed discipline. This is nothing external. This is you telling yourself, I need to change. I need to grow. I need to become better. I need to be learning new skill. I need to be doing what I haven't been doing for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Self-development, personal development. This is where it comes into play. Developing yourself and telling yourself, it's time to grow. It's time to become better. It's time to change. It's time to be different. Don't go about saying you take me as you are. Yes, we all want to be accepted how we are. I was having a conversation with my wife yesterday about the same point of view and taking me as you are. Imagine you have someone who's sloppy, you come back home or the whole house is messed up and there's food lying on the floor everywhere, dirty clothes, and they keep saying to you, well, take me as you am. You go out, walk, or they come back and pick it up. How would you feel? If you're the person who has to do that, go out every day, come back, then make the food, clean after this person, and they just lie in bed and they go on their phone and just say, take me as I am. That's what we got to get rid of, that take me as I am thing. Improve. Look at there's a lot of examples to improve. Look at people who are successful. Look at, like, success is not all about money. There's people who have a successful life, successful marriage life, successful personal life, healthy life. There is a lot of people who have different success. Success comes in different forms. So just pick one and say, this, I'm going to become this. I'm going to learn to do this. I'm going to grow in this way. Whatever we are trying to do, most of the things, there have been people who've done them. They've written books about them. They've told their stories. But maybe we don't want to take the time to read these stories, to learn new things. Maybe we'll say to ourselves, well, I've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years. I'm not dead. Why change now? But the reason you change is because maybe you want to become different. You want to grow. You want to see something different. You could as well say, well, I was born in this country. Why do I need to travel around and see the world? It's the same thing. It's willing to change, willing to grow, willing to take risks, willing to adapt. Point of view. The view that matters most, the voice that matters most is yours. That's what, listen to what other people saying, but let your own idea, let your own push be the final decision. Let that be the thing that gets you going, the thing that moves you, the thing that lets you take a step. Your own final decision.